Welcome to Create, Build, Manage, the Entrepreneur's Toolbox.
Welcome to Create, Build, Manage on BizTV. I'm Kelli Phillips. This season of Create, Build, Manage is brought to you by Thought Leader. Today we have two inspiring guests with great insight for you. Our first guest, Grace, has dedicated her life to continuing her son's work to bring peace to the world. And Ramin Waraghai is an athlete who has used his experience with pain to develop treatments to help others deal with their own pain. Stick around. We'll be right back with more Create, Build, Manage only on BizTV. What if we all responded to hard and difficult times with love? Grace joins us now with details. And Grace, thanks for joining us today, but I want you to start by giving us a little background about you.
Yes. When you say hardships, I am a mom, I am a single mother, and I had a son, emotional, and he passed at 25 years young. It was 6 years ago. He had just got his master's degree with a minor in math and philosophy. He was brilliant, straight A student on the International Golden Key Honor Society. And I'm taking over forwarding his global movement for peace, One World Community. And he had just been recognized in Washington, D.C. as a global leader for his One World movement for peace. And I am forwarding it as his mother.
Explain what One World Movement for Peace is. What was his passion that you are now doing?
His passion was for a peaceful, thriving, and free world for all beings. So all are welcome who come in peace. All skin colors, all genders, all religions, all organizations, all peoples of all culture, just coming in peace. And it's a really beautiful model that he has. So peaceful is humanity. And we have sanctuaries in our humanity. We have a fair trade directory, humane, fair trade, earth friendly directory. Community is thriving. It's for thriving global communities. We go to all over the world and we help build the thriving communities, help bring people out of poverty. I was in Central America for 3 months we go to Central America every year. I was there for 3 months this past year. But we're really intending to go around the whole world. And free is our online studio. It's One World Studio. And it's a fair trade studio. And it's a marketplace for fair trade businesses. And my son believed if we promoted and had a platform promoting fair trade businesses and people knew a little bit more about buying products out of fair trade rather than companies that exploit or have slave labor, which a lot of our clothing, a lot of our products are. Even something simple like caged eggs wouldn't be on our platform. So that's how we're moving forward. And you can go to oneworldcommunity.com or One World Studio to check us out, more about us.
As a mom, I can't even imagine what you went through losing a son, but then to be able to take over his love and his passion, because I think a lot of parents who lose a child especially, they can't get past that grief, that devastation. How did you do that?
I don't think anyone ever gets past that grief. But you know, there's a lot of parents who forward their children who have passed their movement, or create some sort of movement or some project in honor of their child. I know my sister is doing it as well, and we're collaborating with the John and Ty's Youth Outreach because my beloved sister Cheryl, lost her son. also about the same age as my son. So we're creating a youth outreach. My son used to bring homeless youth to my home, and her son was in a lot of service as well. So we're one of the things that we do is I have a nonprofit that my son was very active. My daughter has been even more active than my son. She's been the rock of it, and we're creating a youth outreach in honor of our sons.
That's beautiful. And you've written books as well about your son, correct?
Well, that's a whole nother angle. I've been writing since I was a very, very young child, and spending a lot of time in the woods, and often felt messages from my guides and my angels. And from the day my son passed, I started talking to him. I heard his voice loud and clear. I actually went to see him the day he passed, and I told him, I said, I'll bring you back. And I heard loud and clear, no. And I started hearing messages, and I hear his voice very clearly. And I talk to him every single day. So I'm writing books. I'm on my fourth book, and I've written more, but I have them live published. My fourth will be published probably in about a month. Empowerment. That's my favorite book. And they're books about empowering human beings and helping us to live happier, more thriving, and empowered lives. So I channel his messages. I channeled them for 4 years, and they helped me come out of my grief, come out of my hell, because I spiraled down into deep, deep despair. And I thought it would be nice to share them with the world, and if it helped me, these messages could help others.
You also have a yoga school. Tell me about that.
I do ecstatic yoga. Go to ecstaticyoga.studio for my yoga school. It's a hybrid, in-person and online. I've been doing yoga my whole life since I was in high school in the 80s, and I just love yoga. It's actually was a promise I made my son. We were hiking Mount Olympus 2 weeks before he passed, and he asked me when I was going to get my school registered with Yoga Alliance, and I said, well, I don't know. And I said, why? And he said, I want to become a yoga instructor under your lineage, Mom. And so that was one of the first things I did after he passed, is I registered my school, and I got that going. And it's my 4th year now that we've been running the school. It's been in person and hybrid during COVID. And I've got it all online now. And it's a pretty powerful school. It's a whole harmonious yoga. So I really cover it all, from states of samadhi, which is the ultimate goal of yoga, deep meditative states, be resting in pure awareness, and then mindfulness and a lot of asana. And of course, I have a rapture meditation, which is kind of the connects with samadhi, but it's more of just really letting everything go and opening up your heart so that you can be laughed and cry and feel really ecstatic states.
It sounds like you have built a community about losing your son, but also coming out of that grief. And part of that was writing, was yoga, was doing this one world movement for peace that your son was so involved in. Do you see other things in the future?
We had events. My son and I created them together. We have 8 events, and they're all for peace. So there's meditations for peace. There's ceremonies for peace. There is our dances for peace. And we do all of these together. And they're live in person, so people can come together as in community.
So if people want more information, or maybe someone is watching going, I know somebody that could benefit from reading these books, or for being a part of the yoga or the peace organization, how do they find you?
oneworldcommunity.com or oneworldstudio.com. Or you can email me at grace@oneworldstudio.com.
Very easy. Well, Grace, we appreciate you taking time and sharing your story with us today, and wish you continued success.
Thank you for your time. It's an honor.
Thanks, Grace. health coach, an author, and a back pain specialist who's helped thousands of people live healthier lives by dissolving their back pain. Please welcome Ramin Waraghai. So tell me, you kind of have an inspiring story because you had an injury yourself, which led you to do what you're doing today. So will you tell us about that?
Sure, yeah. So I used to be a semi-professional soccer player back in Germany, and my dream was always to make it to the pros. And right when I was so close to making it in soccer practice, I twisted my torso and I threw out my back and got diagnosed with 2 herniated discs in my low back. And as if that wasn't devastating enough, just a few weeks later, I also got diagnosed with bad knee arthritis in my left knee. And a year and a half of rehab and 2 surgeries later, the doctor told me that I should give up my soccer career and that I would probably need a knee replacement a few years down the road. And unwilling to accept that, I started learning all I could about exercise methods to help with my recovery. And by applying those methods on myself, I was able to get rid of all of the joint pains that I had. And I then applied them on my clients in personal training and with my online courses. And that way I was able to help thousands of clients to get rid of their pain as well.
What's so interesting is, for example, my husband has had numerous back surgeries. And typically what we have noticed is once you have a back surgery, you stiffen. Is it because you're not using those muscles anymore and you need that therapy?
First of all, I'm trying to tell my clients that they should, as much as possible, stay away from surgeries, because if they, depending on what they're doing in a spine, is what happens there is if they kind of froze that part. And then what usually happens is that the body compensates in the parts that are above or below. And then a few years later, they might get like a new problem that's above or below. And so it's about really looking at what is the cause of the problem. Where does it come from? And that's what I do usually is looking at the movements and their posture and then see what causes them to compensate, which caused the problem in the first place. And then try to look at how can we get rid of this source of the problem instead of just trying to fix whatever we find in an MRI or in an X-ray.
You mentioned that sometimes it can be a blessing in disguise. For example, when you have this hardship such as the back injury, how can it be a blessing in disguise, and how was it for you?
I used to, as I said, play soccer semi-professionally, and it was a lot of pressure, and it was a lot of I did my university, my studies in sports and exercise science at that same time, and so my dream was also, and there was another dream of mine, to go and travel the world, and that because I was playing soccer every day, and then had games on the weekend, and so for me, one blessing was that after my injury, I was free. I was able to travel the world. And that's what I did for about a year. I would just go all over the place. And then the other blessing for me was that I developed the drive to really look at what are the causes of my pains and what can I do about it. And that way I didn't only help me, but I was able to create my whole business from that. And so that business, which was mainly online for some time, helped me to keep traveling the world and to find meaning in what I'm doing. And so I think that if you really look close enough, whenever we are challenged by something, there is also an opportunity at that same time. But if we just frustrate and maybe even go and get depressed and stay in that victim mentality, then we don't look close enough and look at, what is the opportunity here? And how can that help me to develop myself, to grow, and to create a life that is inspiring and fulfilling for me.
So what you're saying is when one door closes, another one opens. You just have to look for that door and go through it, correct?
I truly believe that. It's like the yin and we're able to find it. And that's what I like. And I'm inspired by doing with people as well, looking and trying to show them, hey, look at the opportunities here. What does it tell you? What is the meaning behind the pain?
Can you tell us a little bit about the book that you wrote on the back pain?
Sure. In the book, it's called Effortless Back Pain Solutions. I wrote about a holistic approach on back pain because especially when it's chronic and recurring, it's often not only the physical, biological problem that we have there, but it's also that we have psychological, emotional causes and factors that play a role here, and then also social and environmental factors, and they all kind of fill up. It's like completely filled up, then it overflows, and it can be just like one movement, one time we were bending forward, and then we kind of throw it back. But the real cause is that our bucket was very full, and then if it stays full, the pain might not go away. So I, in that book, help people to look at, what are activities and exercises that I can do in all areas of life. And then I had them figuring out which ones from all of these tips that I gave them could they implement into their everyday life effortlessly, and that way create healthier habits. Because only if we create healthier habits is when we can have long-lasting effects and get rid of chronic and recurring back pain.
Now, I've got to ask, you moved to Los Angeles a couple of years ago, and you just opened your Mind-Body Hub. What is that, and what do you do there?
Yes, my dream was, since I did my study abroad in Santa Barbara, and I lived in LA for 3 months to write my thesis, was always to come back to LA and to live here at some point. And so 2 years ago, I finally made that move from Germany all the way over to Los Angeles. And just recently, I opened what I call a Mind-Body Hub, where I help people to rebalance their body by doing specific individualized exercises, and then also their mind by balancing perceptions that are usually causing a lot of emotional baggage and trauma inside ourselves. And I'm using the DiMartini method by Dr. John DiMartini for that. And it's mind-blowing how that can be life-changing for people, and how that's empowering and inspiring for the clients that I work with.
Can you give us a success story of someone who has been to your Mind-Body Hub and seen the transformation?
Sure. I mean, there was this yoga teacher, and so she developed this pain in her back because she was just like sitting in one position for too long, in one of the asanas for too long, and she got up, and then she had like that low back pain. And we would look at specifically, and I'm using a 3D camera system to assess people there, look at their movement patterns, and look at, okay, why did that happen now for you on this side and not on the other side? And where is the imbalance here? Because it's usually imbalances in the body. And so we worked on her, which is called external rotation in the hip, and then did some stabilization exercises and everything, and then could fix her pain in a matter of like a few weeks. And she had that for a pretty long time before. And then it's also been like on the mind. It was also that she did yoga, but did a teacher trainer. But then she didn't feel that she was really, would be able to really teach in front of people. And in front of big groups. And then she never went back to really teaching, and she just became a student herself. And then she injured herself, and now she's like, since she learned more about her body now, she's more inspired now to get back to be a teacher again, which before she didn't give herself permission to really go after that.
You gave her the confidence again to do this. Plus you gave her the relief, the back pain relief. One thing that just intrigues me is you invented this thing called the posture shirt. What is that, and why did you come up with this?
Yeah, I'm just a co-founder. My company still, and we created a sensor shirt called Rectify. That is a smart shirt. It's an undershirt that has a sensor strip in it that spans the whole spine, and it tracks and trains your posture over your whole day. So whenever you're like slouching for too long, it buzzes. It gives you this. It's not an electric shock. It's just gentle vibrational feedback to change your posture again and sit more upright again. But then what it also does is it measures your the different postures and different positions of your spine over the whole day. And so at the end of the day, you can look at it and it tells you, oh, you were sitting slouched today for 3 hours. You were leaned over the left side more than the right side. And what was really eye-opening for me was that when I looked at it, it would tell me that I have a rotation to the left often in my everyday life. And I was like, what is that? And then I figured out, oh, it's whenever I work on a laptop, I kind of have my elbow on the table in front of me, and that is already a 30-degree rotation, and it will pick that up. And that was the reason why I had more tightness often in my left shoulder than in the right. And that way I could get rid of that because I was aware now. And that's what we try to do with the shoulders, to make people aware of their often unconscious behaviors in everyday life that can cause to that can lead to all kinds of strain in the body.
I think so many people, I know myself.
Are we not on?
I know that I could use that posture shirt myself, and I'm sure with people these days, everybody down on their cell phones, you've got more tightness in the neck all the way down the back. So it would definitely be something to help. If folks wanted to get in touch with you, find out more about what you do, even the posture shirt, how do they get in touch with you?
Yeah, what I was going to say is we are not on the market yet in the US, but I'm out here trying to promote it, trying to get more funding, and hopefully by the end of the year we're going to launch in the US. But they can find all the information and about what I'm doing, and also about the shirt on my website, which is Ramin Waraghai. So it's RaminWaraghai.com.
Well, thank you so much for sharing with us today. We appreciate you being here. We've learned a lot. Thank you. Thanks for joining me today for BizTV's Create, Build, Manage from Thought Leader. Do you have a message that you want to get out into the world? Thought Leader has helped many aspiring motivational speakers land TEDx talks, from their virtual talk practice club to speaker certifications and TEDx-style coaching. Thought Leader will help get your message out into the world where it belongs. For more information, visit thought-leader.com. Stay tuned to BizTV for more stories that educate, enlighten, and empower.